Ole, jem iman sitik dana mai ire ut hikayet yoi wo ut keeb strakeb. So like, as you can guess, I'm here to teach you guys how to speak backwards like Zatanna. This is kind of inspired by the recent rumors and news that she's gonna get a show, a Justice League Dark show on HBO Max, that she's got a movie in the works, and that Constantine's got a movie in the works. So, there's kind of a lot of exciting news, and there's a possibility that she's going to be, getting more of a spotlight and being kind of introduced to broader audiences. So I thought I'd make this video as a nifty little guide on how to speak backwards like Zatanna and how to understand her in her various media incarnations. So the first thing is that there are 4 different types of backwards speech, or ways to cast backwards spells. I like to base them off of the actresses that use them. I call them like dialects or forms. It feels a little weird calling it dialects because backwards speech isn't like a real language. But, whatever works for you. Okay. So the first style, this is the one that I'm fluent in, and that's why I'm qualified to be your instructor. The first style I had named after Lacey Chabert, because it comes from Young Justice, and that's where Lacey first started voicing the character, and that's where I was first introduced to her. So it just made sense. So the style of Lacey Chabert, it might be a little different than what you're expecting from backwards speech to be. So the structure of it, the structure of backwards speech has always been that it's a word reversed in a full sentence. So like, take for example how I was introducing myself. I said, hi, my name is Kit, and I'm here to teach you how to speak backwards. I didn't say the entire sentence backwards. I just said each word in the sentence backwards. If you're like, it can be a little bit unexpected, and some people will be like, that's not backwards. It is, it's just different. It's actually always been that way since Zatanna first appeared, which is Zatanna's father. He cast spells the same way, and he was introduced in the same comic that Superman was. So casting backwards spells is as old as Superman and DC comic history itself, which I think is kind of pretty cool. So in order to speak backwards in the Lacey Chabert style, the dialect, if you will, you just kind of have to give each letter a sound in the word. So for example, if you wanted to say, check please, you'd go kehek selp, so that, you get a little emphasis on the H in check, and the E at the end of please, which is usually silent, and the E and the A get a little bit of a distinctive sound. You kind of merge them, but, like it kind of flows a bit. That's kind of more of like my personal preference, especially since English forwards is kind of a nightmare and not really consistent, with how we say stuff and how we spell stuff, I before you, except after C, like, and how that's not really true, like it's tricky to navigate. So you just kind of have to decide what sound you want to give the letter. Don't stress too much about whether or not it's like the correct way to pronounce the letter or the correct sound to give it. You just kind of wing it. And I know that that's kind of like bad advice when teaching people to speak backwards, but it's kind of the truth. So the second style of backwards speech, I like to call it Jennifer Hale, but you could also call it Stacey Randall style, because I think she technically did it first in Gotham Girls. This comes from, as I said just now, Gotham Girls and also Justice League Unlimited. And this one is different because this one you're actually trying to pronounce things phonetically backwards as opposed to just giving each letter a sound and, making it sound completely different than forwards. For example, she says she casts a spell to turn Diana from a pig into human form. She goes, Anayad imukeb namium, which is Diana become human. And you can already notice that there's a bit of a mistake in that one. With the imukeb, that is not really correct. But, give her a break. She only voiced Zatanna twice. Jennifer Hale did. The way that you would say that right is Anayad Mokib Namu. To just kind of give it the same sound that you would give it forward. This way of speaking is a little bit more difficult, and all of them get progressively more difficult, which is also one of the reasons I stick to Lacey Chabert dialect, style, form, whatever you want to call it. It gets tricky. It's more work for your brain to do, and I'm lazy. So, if you're not lazy, feel free to use Jennifer Hale, Stacey Randall style. The third style of speaking backwards comes from Smallville, and I named this one Saranda Swan. This one, it's a different structure. The entire sentence is reversed in this style of speaking, which I think personally is unnecessary. And also, in my personal opinion, it's kind of incorrect. Since Zatanna and her father Zatara, they've always cast spells with a forward-facing sentence and just the backwards words. There have been one or two issues or comic book arcs where Zatanna has spoken fully reversed sentences. I think maybe one of the better examples is the Seven Soldiers of Victory. I know that one's kind of well known. It was by Grant Morrison. In that one, there are a couple spells that are just fully reversed dialogue, which, it's kind of a mistake. Or maybe it's a writer or an editor going, hey, she should speak the whole sentence backwards. It doesn't make sense. I mean, none of it makes sense, but okay. It's just kind of all about personal preference. Majority of the time, and going off of canon, it's just the words in the sentence. You don't have to reverse the entire sentence because, like I was saying, it's hard enough to just give each letter a sound, let alone to try and pronounce it phonetically, let alone the whole sentence. It's just tough, and you don't have to do that to yourself. But if you want to, power to you. That's impressive. Good for you. She cast a spell in an alleyway fighting Green Arrow called Litz Aib Din Yob, which is bound by steel. You can notice that she kind of pronounces things similar to Lacey Chabert. And in this style, I would say that it's okay to give each letter a sound, as you normally would. And that's what separates this style from the fourth style. The fourth style is just, fully reversed audio. Kind of the only way to achieve the fourth style is to record something forwards and then play it backwards. Because it's almost, physically impossible to do it as a human. And so people who are able to do this normally, they're very impressive, I must say. I named the fourth style after Kari Walgren. It comes from Justice League Heroes and also DC Superhero Girls, it's kind of a cute show for people who are okay with watching kid shows and just being there for a good, cute time. It's adorable. And, you know, even though like the backwards spells, like it's not really the same, or you know, as I was saying, it's not how it usually is. Like again, like it doesn't super matter. It's still just backwards magic, and like I was saying, it's all kind of personal preference. You can do what you want with it. This magic was also featured in Justice League Dark, the animated movie that came out in 2017, I believe. So the only thing that I know how to say in it is Shall Zithzul, which is lose this clash fully reversed. And even the people, hypothetical people who are gonna watch this video, who reverse that, you know, might notice that it's a bit wrong. What can you do? Because like I said, it's just the most difficult of the backwards dialects. So yeah, you don't have to do that, but it is an option for perfectionists. If you want to get snobby about it, it is like pure backwards, but it's not the canon backwards, as I keep saying. So yeah, those are the 4 main ways of speaking backwards. Kind of like, you just have to pick the one you like. Like for me with Lacey Chabert, it was kind of easy because the Young Justice creators, they provided the spell translations for you. That isn't something that happens all the time. Like for example, like to use DC Superhero Girls as the example, they don't they don't really give you what she said reverse, and so it's especially tricky to pick them out. Like it's hard to reverse them to hear what she's saying because there's a lot of like magic special effects, so you can mishear words, not fully understand. But yeah, the best way to go about it is to have translations and to just pick a style to listen to, and then you can kind of hear what the actress is saying. You can kind of pick up on what sounds they're giving letters, and just kind of go from there. So yeah, it's pretty easy. It just takes a little work. But yeah, you could do it as long as you're fluent in English and have a lot of time on your hands and unhealthy dedication to fictional characters. So yeah, I hope this was helpful to everyone who watched it, all 5 of you. Goodbye.